You do not experience the world. You experience your mind's listening of it. The objects around you, people, places, circumstances, carry no fixed quality. They hold no warmth or coldness, no beauty or ugliness, no threat or promise on their own. All of that is added by the mind. What you call reality is a construction built from the raw material of experience and shaped by the particular habits of your thinking. Change those habits, and the world you inhabit changes with them. This is not a comforting idea. It means that the suffering you carry is largely self-made, assembled, piece by piece, from the thoughts you have chosen to hold or failed to examine. The same is true of the peace you are capable of. Both are products of the mind. Bitterness and tenderness do not live in events. They live in the attitude brought to them. Friend and enemy, pleasure and pain, these exist as mental categories before they exist as facts. Thought is the origin of everything that follows. Before a word is spoken, there is a thought. Before an action is taken, there is a thought. The body is an instrument, it executes what the mind has already rehearsed. A man who carries contempt long enough will eventually speak and move with contempt, and he will not notice when he became it. The accumulation happens slowly, then completely. The present moment is the harvest of past thinking. The direction of your future is set by the thinking you are doing now. This is not poetic language, it is a description of how causation actually works in a human life. A thought, held and repeated, becomes a tendency. A tendency, practiced long enough, becomes a habit. A habit, running deep enough, becomes character. Character, expressed over a lifetime, becomes something that looks exactly like fate, though it was built, choice by choice, from the inside. The practical consequence of this is that improving your actions starts with purifying your thoughts. There is no shortcut through the sequence. You cannot reliably produce the right words and actions from a disordered mind any more than you can draw clean water from a contaminated source. I want to express my sincere gratitude to those who have already joined our Patreon. Your support is the driving force behind the continued success of this project. For those seeking a more immersive experience, I'm sharing exclusive videos and other content exclusively available on Patreon. This community stands as the sole means of sustaining this work. You can find the link to join the Patreon community in the fixed comment. Most people do not govern their minds. Thoughts of every kind arrive and pass through without any selection. There is no discrimination, no discipline, no awareness of what is being allowed in. The mind in this condition fills with whatever comes easiest, and what comes easiest is usually agitation, repetition, triviality. A person living this way is not the author of their experience. They are being written by the automatic and largely unconscious operation of a mind no one has ever trained. This is the root of most disorder. The mind left ungoverned does not rest. It produces an endless stream of useless content, old grievances, anxious projections, pointless commentary on things that do not matter and cannot be changed. This is not neutral. Every thought of that kind drains the same energy that could otherwise be directed towards something real. Mental energy spent on irritation or futility is gone. It does not accumulate elsewhere. The cultivation of thought is an exact science. Few people know it, and fewer still practice it, including those who consider themselves educated. The ignorance is not about facts or skills. It is about this: the mechanism through which all facts and skills are processed has never been examined or disciplined. That is the fundamental gap in almost every education. The method for correcting this is straightforward, though not easy. Treat the mind the way a gardener treats soil. Left alone, the ground produces whatever seeds land in it, mostly weeds. The gardener decides what to plant, waters what should grow, and removes what is choking it before it establishes roots. The mind requires the same deliberate attention. Cultivate thoughts of calm, of generosity, of clarity and goodwill. These are not decorative additions to a life, they are the structural material from which a stable life is built. Water them through sustained reflection. Pull out the rest, vanity, resentment, idle worry, before they have a chance to take hold. A harmful thought closed off before it germinates dies on its own. The same thought entertained and repeated grows stronger every time. When an unwanted thought surfaces, do not fight it directly. Resistance gives it attention, and attention gives it force. The stronger move is to replace it, to bring in a thought of greater substance and let the weaker one lose its hold through neglect. This works because the mind cannot hold two things with equal intensity at once. Give the better thought the room, and the other will fade. The same principle applies to anger and agitation. At the first sign of irritation, redirect the mind, deliberately, calmly, without drama. A small disturbance addressed immediately costs almost nothing. The same disturbance, allowed to grow through rumination, can take hours to dissolve. Catching it early is a skill, and like any skill it improves with practice. Drink cold water. Slow the breath. Do whatever breaks the momentum before it builds. There is a further dimension to this work that goes beyond mental hygiene. The deeper aim is to bring the mind to a single point, to reduce the scatter of 100 competing thoughts to one sustained focus. This is what meditation actually does. It is not rest in the ordinary sense. It is a controlled burning away of everything that does not belong. Sit in silence. Do not force anything out. Forcing a thought produces the opposite of the intended effect. The thought returns stronger, because fighting it required holding it in attention. Instead, become indifferent to what arises. Let thoughts pass without feeding them. What is not fed eventually stops coming. With sustained practice, the mind becomes easier to manage. At full development, a useless thought is stopped at the threshold, turned away before it enters, the way a stranger is turned away at the gate of a house. The vigilance required for this is not exhausting when it becomes habitual. What is exhausting is the alternative, a mind that runs unchecked through every dark corridor it finds. Carry the work into daily life. Walking, working, eating, none of these activities requires the full mind. The part of the mind not occupied with the task at hand can be kept in something worthwhile. This is the use of capacity that would otherwise go to waste on nothing in particular. The body works, the mind holds its center. Over time, the two stop feeling separate. Nothing in this is beyond reach. The difficulty is real. Mastering thought is harder than any external conquest, and it asks for patience and sustained interior effort that most people never develop because they never understood it was necessary. But the capacity is already there. Every faculty required for this work is latent in the person who undertakes it. The decision to begin is the only thing that has to come first. Fatalism is the one attitude that cannot coexist with this understanding. The belief that character and circumstance are fixed, handed down by fate, determined by conditions outside the self, produces exactly the inertia it claims to describe. Surrender to it, and it becomes self-fulfilling. Reject it, and the same energy that was spent accepting limitation becomes available for something else. You are building something with every thought you hold. The question is whether you are building it deliberately or by default. The material is the same either way. The difference is entirely in who is doing the work.